The Rock, a prison of legends. Perched on a desolate island in the heart of San Francisco Bay, Alcatraz stood as a fortress of isolation. Alcatraz was more than just a prison. It was a symbol of fear and control, a symbol of America's unshakable commitment to law and order, and a stark reminder of the consequences of defying society's rules. It was a place where the most notorious criminals were sent, a place that promised no escape. To the criminals who found themselves trapped within its walls, it was known simply as the Rock, a name that evoked dread and despair. Alcatraz held a dark and chilling reputation, a place where hope withered and the human spirit went to die. It was a place where the echoes of despair could be heard in every corridor, and the weight of confinement was felt in every cell. Alcatraz was no ordinary prison. It was a fortress designed to break the will of the most incorrigible criminals. It was reserved for the most dangerous and unmanageable inmates in the federal penitentiary system, the worst of the worst, those who had defied all other forms of incarceration. Gangsters, murderers, and those who had repeatedly tried to escape from other prisons were sent to Alcatraz, where escape seemed impossible. The island's isolation, coupled with its unforgiving natural defenses, made it seemingly inescapable, or so everyone thought. The legend of Alcatraz endures, a testament to its place in the annals of American history. Fortress of Despair, Life and Security, on Alcatraz. Alcatraz was designed to be inescapable. The prison was a marvel of security engineering, intended to house the most dangerous criminals. Surrounded by frigid, turbulent waters and strong currents, the island posed a natural barrier. The treacherous waters made escape nearly impossible. Even if an inmate managed to overcome the natural obstacles, the prison itself was a fortress. Its walls were thick, its cells small and confining. Armed guards patrolled the cell blocks and towers around the clock. Every movement was monitored, every exit was secured. The guards were vigilant, always on high alert. Life on Alcatraz was brutal. The conditions were harsh and the environment was designed to break the will of the inmates. Inmates endured a strict and unforgiving routine. Their days were monotonous, filled with repetitive tasks and little to no personal freedom. They spent most of their days locked in their cells, subject to constant surveillance. The food was bland, often barely edible. The work was grueling, designed to exhaust them. The silence was deafening, a constant reminder of their isolation. The psychological toll of confinement on Alcatraz was immeasurable. The isolation was intense and the deprivation was severe. The isolation and deprivation were designed to break the spirit. The constant solitude could drive a person to the brink of madness, to instill a sense of hopelessness. The heavy doors and high walls were a constant reminder of their captivity. Yet, even in this environment of despair, the human spirit found a way to endure. Inmates formed bonds, found ways to communicate, and held on to hope, and in some cases, to rebel. Despite the odds, some inmates dared to dream of freedom and plotted their escape. A daring plan takes shape: the masterminds and their scheme. In 1962, 3 men dared to challenge the notion that Alcatraz was inescapable. Frank Morris, a cunning and intelligent bank robber, was the mastermind. He saw weaknesses in the prison's seemingly impenetrable defenses. He noticed things that others overlooked. He studied the routines, the flaws, the opportunities. Morris recruited brothers John and Clarence Anglin, experienced criminals with nerves of steel. The Anglin brothers, experts in mechanics and construction, possessed the skills necessary to carry out Morris's audacious plan. Together, they formed an unlikely alliance, united by their desperation for freedom. Over months, the trio meticulously planned their escape. They worked in secrecy, communicating in whispers and coded messages. Their plan was audacious, relying on ingenuity, timing, and a healthy dose of luck. The night of the escape, June 11, 1962. The night of June 11, 1962, was shrouded in fog, a thick blanket of mist rolling in from the Pacific. The dense fog created an almost surreal atmosphere, cloaking the island in an eerie silence. The island was eerily silent. The only sounds the distant foghorns and the lapping of waves against the island's rocky shore. The usual hustle and bustle of the prison seemed to be swallowed by the night, adding to the tension in the air. It was the perfect night for an escape. The thick fog provided the perfect cover, and the silence meant that any unusual noise would be easily noticed. The escapees put their plan into action. Months of meticulous planning and preparation had led to this moment. They slipped out of their cells through meticulously enlarged ventilation ducts. Each movement was calculated, every step rehearsed to perfection. They had fashioned dummy heads made from soap, paint, and real hair to fool the guards during nightly inspections. These decoys were so lifelike that they passed the guards' scrutiny without raising any suspicion. The decoys worked flawlessly, buying the men precious time. The guards, believing the prisoners were asleep in their cells, continued their rounds without alarm. They navigated through a network of service tunnels and climbed to the roof of the cell block. This part of the escape was particularly dangerous, as any noise could alert the guards. From there they used a makeshift raft, constructed from salvaged raincoats and inflated with a concertina, to reach the water's edge. The raft was a testament to their ingenuity and determination. They vanished into the night and the fog, leaving no trace but their empty cells and the echoing silence of the prison. The mystery of their fate would linger for decades, a testament to one of the most daring escapes in history. The next morning, the prison awoke to a scene of chaos. Guards making their rounds discovered the empty cells. The dummy heads, once convincing in the dim light, now lay exposed as crude fakes. Panic ensued. The alarm blared, echoing across the island and out into the bay. Alcatraz, the supposedly inescapable prison, had been breached. The news of the escape sent shockwaves across the nation. The public was captivated by the audacity of the escape and the mystery surrounding the escapees' fate. Had they perished in the treacherous waters, or had they managed to survive and reach freedom? The FBI launched a massive manhunt, the largest in its history at the time. Agents fanned out across the Bay Area, searching for any trace of the escapees. They interviewed witnesses, followed up on leads, and scoured the shoreline for clues. The investigation was relentless, driven by a determination to prove that no one could escape Alcatraz and get away with it. Despite the extensive search efforts, the investigation yielded more questions than answers. Bits and pieces of evidence emerged. A paddle, a life preserver, remnants of the raft. But the fate of the escapees remained elusive. The mystery deepened, fueling speculation and capturing the public's imagination. The question of whether the escapees survived their daring escape has haunted investigators and armchair detectives for decades. The frigid waters of San Francisco Bay, the strong currents, and the distance to shore made the swim a daunting and perilous undertaking. Could they have survived? Some believe the escapees drowned, their bodies swept out to sea by the relentless currents. Others cling to the hope that they made it to shore, disappearing into the anonymity of a new life, forever on the run. The lack of conclusive evidence has allowed both possibilities to take root, transforming the escape into a captivating blend of history and folklore. Over the years, tantalizing clues have surfaced, fueling the debate about the escapees' fate. A postcard, purportedly sent by John Anglin to the FBI, claimed they had all survived. A photograph, allegedly showing the Anglin brothers living in Brazil years later, added to the intrigue. Forensic analysis of the evidence has yielded inconclusive results, keeping the mystery alive. Some experts believe the evidence is credible, suggesting the escapees may have indeed survived. Others dismiss it as hoaxes or wishful thinking, clinging to the official narrative that the men drowned in the bay. The escape from Alcatraz has become a part of American folklore, inspiring countless books, films, and documentaries. The story, with its themes of daring, ingenuity, and the undying hope for freedom, continues to resonate with audiences around the world. The escape transformed Alcatraz from a symbol of confinement to a symbol of the human spirit's unyielding desire for freedom. The prison, once a place of fear and despair, became a popular tourist destination, drawing visitors eager to step back in time and imagine the audacity of that foggy June night in 1962. The escape from Alcatraz, whether the escapees ultimately survived or not, stands as a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. It serves as a reminder that even in the darkest of places, hope can endure. It demonstrates the power of ingenuity and determination in the face of seemingly insurmountable odds. The story of the escape from Alcatraz continues to captivate and inspire, reminding us that the desire for freedom is a fundamental human instinct, one that can drive even the most desperate of men to attempt the impossible. The mystery of the escape from Alcatraz remains unsolved. Did they survive? Did they perish in the icy waters of the bay? Or did they find freedom, living out their days under assumed identities, forever haunted by the memory of the rock? The answers, lost to time and the swirling currents of San Francisco Bay, continue to elude us. Perhaps in the end, the most enduring legacy of the escape from Alcatraz is not the answer to the question of whether they survived, but the enduring power of the mystery itself. A mystery that continues to fascinate, to inspire, and to remind us that some stories are destined to remain untold.